the most dangerous man in world rugby has just broken his silence, and he is aiming his fire straight at New Zealand. It is January 2026, and while the rugby world is still reeling from the shock sacking of Scott Robertson, Eddie Jones has stepped into the light to deliver a scathing critique that has left the New Zealand Rugby board scrambling for a response. Jones, never one to shy away from controversy, isn't just questioning the decision, he is calling out the very soul of the All Blacks administration. He suggests that the removal of Razor wasn't about performance or win rates, but something far more sinister involving internal politics and a fear of the unconventional. As the dust settles on Robertson's 2-year reign, the sport's greatest agitator has just suggested that the Kings of the South are effectively sabotaging their own dynasty. This is a verbal grenade thrown from across the sea, and it is hitting exactly where it hurts most. Subscribe to All Sports Updates for the latest breaking news. Eddie Jones has never been a fan of the establishment, and he sees the treatment of Scott Robertson as a classic case of a rigid system rejecting a visionary. In a recent press conference that has since gone viral, Jones argued that New Zealand Rugby has become too corporate and too detached from the raw, maverick energy that built the All Blacks' legacy. He questioned the timing of the departure, pointing out that 2 years is barely enough time to plant the seeds of a new culture, let alone harvest the results. Jones suggests that the board became uncomfortable with Robertson's breakdance diplomacy and his refusal to conform to the traditional, stoic image of an All Blacks coach. By firing him now, Jones claims they have traded a potential genius for a safe, predictable mediocrity. It is a bold accusation that paints the NZR board as a group of suits more interested in controlling the narrative than winning World Cups. The core of the argument from Jones centers on the idea that the All Blacks are currently suffering from an identity crisis that no coach can fix until the board fixes themselves. He believes the reasons given for Robertson's exit, cited as a lack of tactical evolution, are merely a smokescreen for a power struggle that has been brewing since 2024. Jones pointed out that Robertson's win percentage, while lower than historic peaks, was trending upward before the axe fell. To Jones, this looks like a coup orchestrated by those who were sidelined during the transition from the Ian Foster era. He warns that by creating a revolving door at the top, New Zealand is losing its most valuable asset, its aura of stability. When the rest of the world sees the All Blacks in chaos, they no longer fear the jersey, they smell blood in the water. This criticism carries a particular weight because Jones has spent a career dismantling the very systems the All Blacks are trying to emulate. He argues that the modern game requires coaches who are comfortable with chaos, and in his view, Robertson was the only man in New Zealand with the stomach for it. By removing him, Jones believes the NZR has sent a message to every innovative coach in the country: conform or be cast out. This internal purity test is, according to Eddie, the reason why other nations like France and Ireland have overtaken the silver fern in recent years. They embrace the eccentric, while New Zealand seems to be retreating into a conservative shell. It is a scathing assessment that challenges the narrative that Robertson was the problem, suggesting instead that he was merely the symptom of a much deeper institutional decay. Don't forget to like and hit that bell icon for more deep dives into your favorite athletes. This is All Sports Updates. Jones didn't stop at the administration, he also took aim at the culture of player power that reportedly played a role in Robertson's downfall. He suggests that senior players in the New Zealand setup have been given too much influence over the hiring and firing of staff, creating an environment where a coach cannot truly challenge the status quo without risking a mutiny. In Jones's world, the coach must be the absolute authority, and any board that listens to the complaints of disgruntled veterans is destined for failure. He contrasted this with the ruthless efficiency of the Springboks, where the hierarchy is clear and the coach's word is law. By allowing the locker room to dictate the terms of the coaching search, Jones argues that New Zealand has effectively surrendered the 2027 World Cup before a ball has even been kicked. The fallout from these comments has ignited a firestorm within the New Zealand media, with Gregor Paul and other leading journalists forced to address the uncomfortable truths Jones highlighted. While many in New Zealand dismiss Eddie as a professional troll, his track record of spotting weaknesses in opposition structures is undeniable. He sees a New Zealand team that is playing scared, not of the opposition, but of their own bosses. This psychological paralysis is, in his opinion, why the All Blacks looked so indecisive during their recent Northern tour. Jones believes the new coach, whether it be Jamie Joseph or a returning veteran, will be walking into a poison chalice where they are expected to win every game while being micromanaged by a board that doesn't understand high-performance sport. It is a bleak outlook for a nation that considers rugby its birthright. Furthermore, Jones touched on the commercial pressures that he believes are driving these desperate decisions. With New Zealand Rugby facing a financial shortfall, the board is obsessed with protecting the brand, which Jones defines as winning at all costs to satisfy sponsors like Silver Lake. He argues that this short-term thinking is the enemy of long-term success. Robertson wanted to build a team for 2027, but the board demanded results for the 2025 balance sheet. This clash of timelines was always going to end in disaster. Jones suggests that until the All Blacks can insulate their rugby decisions from their financial anxieties, they will continue to make reactive, panic-driven coaching changes. He warned that if they continue down this path, they will become the Manchester United of rugby, a wealthy, historical giant that is perpetually underachieving on the field. As the search for a new head coach begins, the shadow of Eddie Jones's critique hangs heavy over the proceedings. Every candidate will now be viewed through the lens of whether they are a yes man for the board or a genuine innovator. Jones's comments have emboldened those within New Zealand who felt Robertson was unfairly treated, creating a fractured fan base that is increasingly skeptical of the official NZR narrative. The board now has the impossible task of finding someone who can satisfy the traditionalists while also being modern enough to compete with the Northern Hemisphere powerhouses. It is a delicate balance that Jones believes they are incapable of achieving. He has effectively set a trap. If the next coach fails, Jones will be proven right. If they succeed, he will simply claim they are riding the coattails of the foundation Robertson built. The saga of the All Blacks coaching search has become a global soap opera, and Eddie Jones is its most entertaining narrator. His questions about the real reasons behind Robertson's departure have forced a level of transparency that the NZR usually avoids. Whether his theories are based on insider knowledge or pure speculation, they have struck a chord because they echo the fears of many rugby fans who see their beloved team in decline. As the 2026 season approaches, the pressure on the new regime is unprecedented. They aren't just fighting for wins, they are fighting to prove that Eddie Jones is wrong. The battle for the future of New Zealand rugby is being fought in the press rooms as much as the scrums. Thank you for watching this special report. For more content like this, subscribe to All Sports Updates, and join the conversation in the comments below. Would you like me to analyze the potential impact of Eddie Jones's comments on the upcoming Greatest Rivalry Tour?